Hey, everybody. How's everyone? Doing good.
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 I see some new faces, some faces from last class. Very, very cool. It's almost a full class. So, all right, let's just give a moment for everyone to come in. Let me turn on my lights. Um, all right. All right. We have a bunch of squares. Sweet. You gotta love Zoom, right?
Right.
Can't stop, won't stop. So yes, my name is Ethan Benegas. I am, how do I introduce myself? Well, most importantly, I'm a father, I have two children, Cole and Kylie, a husband. I'm a brother, son, musician. I'm also a teacher, professor, whatever you want to call me. I've been teaching for 4 years, and the first years were tough, starting to get easier. I'm sure those who have taught before know what I'm saying. And yeah, I teach Kumeyaay history. I've been doing that the longest. And I teach US history. If you're looking to take another class, there's some, and I also teach Chicano history, which is kind of funny, but they needed a professor to teach it. They had a class with no professor. So I teach Chicano history. I'm kind of, at first I didn't think I could do it, but I'm like, hey, why not? I've taken a lot of classes. I took Chicano history before, and I've studied colonial Spanish history in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for 6 weeks. I lived in Spain for 6 weeks. So I have a diverse background, and I studied theology first, history, and political science. So I'll be using my diverse background a lot in my class, in this class, and that's what I hope you do too. So you'll have an opportunity to express all the your your what's the word am I looking for? Diverse backgrounds as well. Yes, and it could be infamous too. That'd be so. Yeah, happy to see everyone. Yeah, what I first want to do is start out with some icebreakers. So I'm going to break everyone into a groups of 4 or 5, depends how many folks are here. And so what I really want to know is who's the best band ever. I'm going to show you mine as at the end, and I'll give you the definitive answer when it's over. But so the question is, who's the best band ever? And you can talk about songs too, because sometimes songs are more important. Yes, one hit wonders would be a good one, actually. But yeah, so I'm gonna do about five rooms. So we have so we can go faster. So starting now, and I'll be jumping in and out. This is recorded, so don't say anything too crazy. Unless you want it recorded, that's fine with me. But just know. Okay, assign to, wait, where are you going? For,
Meme
Okay.
Yutamawa.
Hantewa. Hello everyone. My name is Jake. Uh, I would say my favorite band. Um, I have to go with like AC/DC.
I really don't have a favorite song or a band. Oh, wait. Yes. My favorite song is a bird song. Mom, what's your favorite song or band?
You can answer it.
I already did.
Oh.
This is my class or yours?
What about you,
Your turn.
Kiana?
Hi everyone, I'm Kiana. My favorite band, there's a lot of good ones, but I think my favorite would probably be Queen. I really like Queen.
Yeah. Did you see the movie?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I grew up listening to them, so.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm gonna give away my age, but I grew up.
How old I actually am. So that's why I was like, they were around when I was born. Okay.
I guess I can go next. So my name's Stephanie. This question is hard for a few reasons, but one of them is that like, as I've gotten older, I've listened less to like bands' discographies. Like I mostly listen to individual songs. So I don't know if I know enough about any one band to be able to say like that one's the best. But high school me used to listen to bands like cover to cover. So high school me would probably say like Flogging Molly, which is an Irish punk band. But I wouldn't say they're the best band ever, but that's the only thing that comes to mind, honestly.
I got you. Understood.
And it's Shantae, right?
Yes.
When you said that, what kind of band?
Of like, I mean, individual people. Like I love Prince, and Prince is like himself, but he always, played with a band. And same thing with more like recent person, like Janelle Monáe is one of my favorite artists. So.
Have we all gotten a chance to talk?
I think so.
Favorite one-hit wonders? Or
No.
yeah.
All right. So I heard Flogging Molly. Yeah, all right. I've been to their concert in Viejas, so it's pretty crazy. So what are some bands, you can put them in the chat if you want. What were some bands that we came up with? Let's see here. I heard Prince. Hector likes Prince. Pretty good. All right. So the definitive answer is this. Okay, here it is. That's it right there. That's the best band ever. All right. So well, now that we got that out of the way. Yes, my new jacket. How do you like it? Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go outside with it. So looking forward to that. I'm wondering why I even bought it if I'm never going to go out and do anything for the rest of my life. Anyways, you can bury me with it. How about that? No, that's too morbid. Sorry. Anyways, my humor's found wanting sometimes. So yes, so we have some good bands out there. Did anyone put them in here? All right, Led Zeppelin. All right. Springsteen. Ooh, Flaming Lips, Queen, Temptations, The Doors, Pink Floyd, Muse. Oh, great. I mean, they're my favorite too. Pink Floyd, Muse. Yeah, in fact, I'm learning a Springsteen song right now, Ghost of Tom Joad. Have you heard it? Awesome. I'll play that for you. How about that? So I'm going to play my guitar a little more this semester because why not, you know? And I think it'll help. So yeah, I've been learning Springsteen, you know, because of the times, right? We're in Springsteen times, right? Great Depression 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so Springsteen, oh, the Beatles. All right, the Beatles. All right. So yeah, I may do a Beatle haircut. I'm figuring out what I'm going to do with my hair after this. I had to shave it because my wife would stop cutting it. So anyways, all right. So what I'm going to do too, I kind of want to do breakout rooms more this year. I think it'll help. It'll give everyone a chance to talk more, especially with the size this big. So I'm going to kind of orient the course compared to last year. Try to make it a little more fun, time go a little bit faster, and mix it up a little bit, and more importantly, have you involved in discussion. So the course, what I want to do first is go over the entire course right now using Canvas. So is anyone, are folks used to Canvas at all? How about this? How many people have never done Canvas? You can put it in the chat or show a react. Yeah, you can even put up your hand. So Natalia, you never done Canvas before? Okay. Lizzie. All right. Ellen, great. So perfect. So this is classes especially for you. I want to go through Canvas. And that'll be our way of, I think it's better than doing the syllabus personally. You can always look at the syllabus as well, but I'm going to just do Canvas right now. Yeah, so here is the course. I share screen. Oop. Wait a second. Can you see that? The Canvas page or no? Wait, hold on. Something happened. Okay, can you see it now? Canvas?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So yeah, these are the classes I teach. I teach Kumeyaay 1, Kumeyaay 2, Native American history, US history, Chicano history. Yeah, so if anyone's interested in those, I'd love to have you. So let's go into Native Kumeyaay 2, Kumeyaay history 2. The modules is what you'll see. And the syllabus is right there. And this is the first week. There's 18 weeks total. Number 9 is spring break. And yeah, so what we'll do is typically this week is a little different. I'm going to have no real reading assignments. So let's just move on to the next week. So this is kind of how it's going to go is I'll put the readings right here. Now, these are the books. Let me just stop sharing. If you want, now I had students say last year they didn't like the electronic stuff, and I'm the same. I don't like the reading on the computer. I hate screen time at this point. I can't stand staring at a screen. Looking at a book is a relief, and I suggest that to you as well. It's actually bad for your eyes looking at a screen, but you do not have to buy books, and I want that to be always more important than any of my courses, considering I think college should be free, personally. So here are the books. The first one, and you can buy this on Amazon. I'm not sure how many copies there are. So this is El Capitan. This is what we'll first be going along with. And let me see. Yes, it's similar to Blackboard. I've never done Blackboard, so I can't answer that question, Natalia, but I assume it's better than Blackboard. So El Capitan is the first book. You can buy this on Amazon. It'll get to your house in a couple days, I think. Hardback, really nice book. I think these are pretty cheap right now. I don't know how many are left. So yeah, so El Capitan is the first book. Then we'll be moving on to Delfina Cuero, her autobiography. This is in the syllabus too. This is 80 pages. These are for the folks who obviously want to buy them. This is not very expensive as well, very affordable. The other one, you got to go to Julian to find this. If you ever go to Julian, there's a, and it's too bad actually, you got to go to Julian. This is one of the main books we're using, Medicine Man. He's a doctor that treated all the natives in our area, and it's his journal that his wife wrote about him in the early 1900s. So, and this is in the Julian, like there's a gift shop up there or something. My aunt got it for me. My Aunt Terry, it's like a pioneer museum or something like that. But Medicine Man, because he's from Julian, that's why it's up there, if you're wondering. The Healing the Soul Wound would just be using a chapter of this. This is about historical trauma. But I would buy it just to read it. It's this D book for me on historical trauma, and it's real small. So that's even better. And then we'll be reading an article I wrote in here on gaming. So I used to have a lot of gaming. I took that out. I want to create a separate course for Indian gaming. So if you want to take that, stay tuned in a couple years or two. I'll be doing an Indian gaming course. Sound good? Yeah. Yeah, and I would like to actually have it at the casino sometime. So I'd like to have a collaboration with the casinos and have the course at the casino. I just think, anyways, I have all these grand ideas. Someone stop me. That's what my wife is for. She's the dream crusher, if you're wondering. No, but I have pretty wacky ideas. She keeps me balanced. She's a great woman. She would get so mad at me right now for saying that. But anyways, so yeah, I have that. Also too, to stay tuned for Stan Rodriguez and I are going to create a Native American poli-sci course next semester, hopefully. That'll be about local government. The Kumeyaay, it'll be macro and then micro focused on Kumeyaay in particular government. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things coming, a lot of things in the works. Kumeyaay Studies program is very young and we are just getting started. So yes, oh yeah, Medicine Man, it's in, I don't know.
In Julian.
Julie, yeah. So my Aunt Terry Sloan, you know Terry Sloan. So she got me this, she gets them in Julian. She says she gets a bunch every time and she hands them out in the back of her car. It's that good.
Sorry, the author of that book, Medicine Man?
Yes, it's Ada Hildreth, that's his wife. This is fully on PDF. I have the full PDF version for you. But I mean, there's nothing like the real thing, you know.
Is it printable? I can print that PDF then.
Yeah, you can print it, yes. So I believe I have a printable and a readable version. So there's a long version for printing and then I spin it over for reading. So I think yeah, let's actually look down that on Canvas. I'll show you what I mean. So yeah, because the main reason why I do this is the biggest problem I had in the past is students didn't get the books on time or couldn't afford them or whatever. So yeah, so if you look right here, see Medicine Man complete book, reading for printing. For printing is going to be long version, right? So it's going to be like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's worth it. So yeah, I scanned it long way, so it's going to come out like that. But then when I did for reading, I spin it around, so you don't have to. So yeah, so yes, yeah, and I would say that with all of these, print them out and read and mark them up, you know, highlight them, what have you. And if you can, you know, that's the other thing is I really encourage people to buy the books. You know, people spent their whole lives researching and you know, throw them a $20 bill. you know. But again, I'm here for you. And to me, this college should be free, and that's why I do this. So if you can afford it, please buy the books. So yeah, so what's going to happen is, and I don't have it yet, like right here in this module for this week, I'm going to put questions. So make sure, and I'm going to have the questions for you ready tomorrow. Make sure you print out the questions first before you start reading. And then as you're reading, fill the questions out and then just pop it in the quiz. So the quiz, I'm making it easier this year for everyone. Because I thought the way the quiz is, to me, I want everyone to get an A. So I'm going to make it real easy. But at the end, I'm also going to make the quizzes a little bit harder because you should, now I can. Now you're going to have, what, a whole week to do it. But it's designed for you to learn the material and more importantly, to keep you accountable to doing your homework. And that's one thing I felt had a problem with before too, is people even getting the book, let alone reading it. So all of this is for that, but more importantly for you to learn the material. And I did shorten, so before I had everyone read the entire book, I don't have anyone do that anymore. So I made the readings as small as I could, 30 to 40 pages to 50 pages a week. And there'll be a reading assignment. So there'll be a quiz next week. Yeah, it'll just be a quiz. Everyone needs no explanation. And then I'll have a reading response. So the reading response is simple. What is this about? That's the main thing I want in a reading response for 1 or 2 pages. But if you can connect your personal experiences, that would be nice. You do not have to receive an A, however. But I just think it would be nice. Wait, it froze. So yeah, so you do not have to receive an A. But I think, you know, reading material, especially this kind of stuff, hopefully you can find some personal connection to the material. And that will make it, yeah, more exciting for all of us. There is, yeah, so we're going to start off with Captain El Capitan, go to Delfina Cuero. She is from Campo. So it's a really interesting book, the red one. And I got a really, 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 really cool surprise for everyone this year because, yes, Ellen. Did you raise your hand? Okay, there's her hands up. All right, so let me do this for a second. So I wanted to share this. So this is, I'm gonna share, so these are the videos from Rosalie Pinto Robinson, the book, and I can show some of these videos. Like for example, you know, this one, I don't know if it's gonna play real fast. Wait a second. So yeah, it'll be a really good companion to the videos, to the book, because I really like to use media as much as I can. So we're not just reading, we're not just discussing. So I'll be using a lot of media throughout as much as I can to make the course more robust and entertaining. I think, you know, history should be entertaining. And these are primary sources. So when it comes to history, you have secondary sources and you have primary sources. This would be a secondary source. Primary sources would be like interviews and documents. And we're going to go over primary source in a moment. But primary source are to me what history is all about. It's what history is written from, and it's the original thing. So you don't have the bias that you have in secondary source. So secondary source are full of bias. We all have bias. And the more you can get away or understand that, to form your own opinions, the better. Hold on a second. This is not working. Anyways, so yeah, so these are the videos I'll be using for this book. And I haven't had it in the past, so I'm real excited for that. So you'll get to meet Rosalie Pinto Robinson. You'll get to meet her, her personality, what it was like in Campo in 1970 with all these you know, elders. And so that's what we're going to do to meet her. And I'll kind of be doing that throughout. So when we use the El Capitan, for instance, I'll be using interviews. I interviewed Sister Curl from Verona, and she lived in Capitan when she was young. So we're able to see like firsthand accounts of the book. So it'll be this really good companion pieces to the readings. So yeah, it's been a dream of mine to have this course this way. And so I'm real excited for that. Anyone have any recommended places to buy the books not from Amazon? Any favorite local booksellers? Yeah, there used to have books in Kumeyaay, but I didn't have them do it this year. So
Does
moving
Verona Museum still, I'm sorry, does Verona Museum still have the books, some of the books available?
That's a good question. I would definitely hit them up to see. They
They're
probably
showing up on their website.
They probably have this one. I would say definitely. I'd be surprised. Cap 10. I don't know about this one. Maybe not this one.
I got that one at the Verona Museum.
Oh, you did?
It was a year or so ago, but they did have it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, if you can find it outside of Amazon, please do it. So there is the course module. So this is how it's going to look if you are not familiar with Canvas. It's actually really intuitive, really simple. And say you go in your reading response, and this is where you're going to submit your assignments. So you'll do a page or two, and then you'll submit them in there. I mean, a page is fine. I'm just going after quality, not quantity. And what I'm going to do this year as well is we're going to have a research paper. Well, before I get to that, let me just go down. I always jump the gun. So we're going to have a quiz, a reading response, quiz, reading response, and then we're going to have a flag assignment. The flag assignment is, I want you to create a new Kumeyaay Nation flag. We're looking for people who have really good ideas. The current one needs to be updated, and we'll submit them to the tribes when you're done, and your flag might be the one that we all use one day. So we're looking for that.
Are we using, real quick, are we using both the tribes from up here and down south, or is it at our discretion?
You stole my thunder.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, so that's the main problem, right? Is that the flag doesn't include Baja tribes, right?
Yes.
It's just got 12 up here and none of the 5 in the south. That's the main problem with the flag. Amen, Julie. You stole.
I got excited when I seen the assignment when I read the syllabus, and I was like, yes, finally.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it so true? We need a new flag. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and exactly. So that was like, you stole my thunder. That's the main problem, right?
Hey, that's Julie's thunder. Hi, Julie.
Hey, Jenny.
Yeah, so, and you don't got to be a good artist. It's concepts, right? A flag is about a concept. So the concept what matters, and we can get an artist to actually do it, however way. But if you look at flags, they don't need an artist. They need it's about the symbolism. So yes, I'm glad you're excited about this assignment. And then once we get it, Julie, we can go to all the tribes and work for a more representative and more beautiful flag. I would like a more beautiful flag personally.
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so that's the one of the assignments. I'm really excited about that. We obviously that would be a long haul to get all the tribes to on board, but we got to start somewhere. There'll be a family tree assignment week 13. And I want everyone to find their family a lineage, your ethnicity using fractions. I'll show you what I mean. And that's going to be a really good one for breakout groups. So I'm really excited about that. Then so those are kind of the 2 different assignments: quiz, reading response, quiz, reading response. And then you're going to have the main thing, what I'm doing this year, which I didn't do last year, which I wish I did, and I've done in the past, is research papers. So I want you to start thinking today about what you want to do as a research paper. This is the more important thing for me more than anything. And I'm going to also help you with skills, like building your skills so you can learn how to write a little bit better. I'm sure many of you are already really good writers, but I'll show you what I've already, my journey, what I wish I knew when I was you, when I was just starting my journey, if you are just starting your journey. So I'll be showing a couple YouTube videos on how I take notes, how I create outlines and all that. But what I would ask everyone is submit a proposal of your concept first and send it to me, a paragraph. Hey, hey, I wanted to do on week 16 is enrollment. So we're going to study Pechanga disenrollment. There's an article. I would love to have an article in opposition to it, but this is the only one I have about Pechanga disenrollment. And you're going to talk about enrollment and blood quantum. Students love writing about that. That's a great research paper. Just for example, week 15 is historical trauma, another good topic. Indian gaming, another good topic. On and on and on. We'll be going through these. So your paper is going to also accompany a presentation, 5 to 10 minute presentation via Zoom with your fellow classmates. You can or can't, you don't have to use a visual aid such as PowerPoint. I encourage some type, maybe 1 or 2 photos. It's always nice to have something to stare at. And so, so that's the gist of it. I'll be posting each class on this, so today I'll be posting this class right here. So every class is going to be recorded. So, and it will be taken off when the class is over. So you won't have to worry about that. And honestly, no one really looks at these other than students. But just be aware that your privacy is as important to me as you. So I'm very important to keep it private, and don't say anything you wouldn't want on public record. I'll just say that. Something I have to get used to. So very, very straightforward. Any questions?
I made an offer in the chat that maybe I could go pick up a stack of the books, the Medicine Man books in Julian, if people want. So I'll make a little form that I can throw in the chat later for people to sign up, and whether you can pay or can't pay, please sign up anyway. If you have money to give more, then please do that, just so that we have them, and then that way we have them. Ethan, do you know how much they cost, just so I can put that on the form and people can?
Yeah, I do not. I mean, this was given to me by my aunt. So
okay, I'll call then and find out. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great trip to go to Julian, right?
Exactly. I don't mind getting the fresh air, so
yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, and for ideas during quarantine, there's an apple picking farm up there. Has anyone done it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And their apples are bomb, right? So good. Oh my God, it's like candy. So it's a great idea to head up there, take a drive, do some apple picking, take home a bag of apples and buy a pie and buy Medicine Man, or get it from Blair. But anyways, so yes, great. This book is dope, by the way. It is so good. And this will cover like fiestas, right? All the fiestas we used to do. It's got Yellow Sky in there. It's got my great grandmother in there. It has all these cool figures, and for the natives, all our relatives are in there. And it's going to be a dope book. I read it over the break and I took out as much as I could. So you'll see the chapters will be, when it was a throwaway chapter, I took it out. But for the most part, we're going to read the whole book, because what I really wanted to do was make sure we're not wasting anyone's time. So I made sure I went through every chapter to make sure every chapter is going to be relevant. And because some of them are just about her, like, I don't know, they went to a trip to Washington, D.C. I took that out, but it's a cool chapter. If you can read the whole thing, I would definitely say that. So it's a really good book. It took me a while to find these kind of books to this class. Gaming will be interesting. And yeah, so for the most part, we'll be covering everything from in modern history, the modern reservation history. And I'll be skipping some reservations because of time, but I'll try to cover all the reservations as much as possible. And except Hamul. I'm not going to cover Hamul at all. No, I'm just joking, Miss Lisa. I'm just joking. No, we'll cover Hamul. Yeah. So yeah, and at least I want to mention is so I'll be using a lot of interviews I have conducted over the course of three years to talk about Hamul, talk about Brown and Ollie. So and I'll be using a lot more interviews, by the way, than I did last semester. So instead of 3, I'll probably use 8 different pieces of interviews. So yeah, and so anyways, anyone take so I think what we'll do is take a 10-minute break, come back and finish up. I want to start kind of switch gears, and I want to cover the Treaty of Santa Ysabel when we come back. So we'll kind of start class when we come back. Sound good? So we'll come back at 5:50. How about that?
5:50.
All right. See you in a bit. All right, so we are admit. We're gonna do breakout rooms again. And the question this time is, what have you been binge watching? All right, so get ready, get your answers ready. And here you go. So,
Do we put it in the chat?
or no, you can just talk about it in the breakout room. Or what did you binge watch? It doesn't have to be now.
It's Outlander.
Outlander. Ooh. I think my mom likes that one.
It's really good.
What?
They're the husband's a history major in the 40s, and the wife, she was a Civil War nurse, and then they went to Scotland, and she touched this rock, and then she went 200 years in time behind.
Right.
It was really cool. They almost burned her at the stake for being a witch because she knew all this stuff, and it was entertaining.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They used a lot of plants for healing. And it's pretty cool. Then she came back to 1960s, and then she went back again. So, okay, so join. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so is that Netflix? Oop. I'm by myself.
On Netflix.
What is it about? I don't know if they have
It's
time.
about a sheriff in I think Idaho, whose best friend is a Native American, and they're always they're all, there's always some kind of crisis going on in the town, and they have to work together, and it's it can get pretty bloody at times, but it's really wonderful. It's a really fun series, and it's really long. So anyway, but I've watched it twice now. So anyway, it is fun.
I've been watching Schitt's Creek, and I'm trying to make it last, so I make myself exercise while I watch it on my days off.
That was mine as well.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying it.
It's awesome.
Did everyone go already?
Yes.
Oh, yes? All right. I've been watching Cobra Kai. It's terrible.
I heard. Is it terrible? I heard
good.
it starts out really good and then it goes to a B.
It's a good terrible.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's like
At the ending, it's just too surprising.
it's good. I mean, look, it's Karate Kid 5. I mean, how good can it be? But it's funny. I mean, how I explain to my wife, it makes fun of itself. That's why it's good. You know, anyways, I watched everything at this point. What else can I watch?
Right.
Tiger King was in the beginning. Everyone watched Tiger King?
I did.
I heard, so any other binging? Let's look at the chat. What did we get?
Comedians in cars drinking coffee.
Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched Ozark. Ozark was bad at first, and then it started.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was good. I liked Ozark. But yeah, I mean, my standards have gone way lower than before COVID. I just have either that or I watch the news all day. So.
Right.
Bridgerton or Bridgerton?
Oh yeah, I heard that's good.
It's good.
Bridgerton. Oh, has anyone seen The Servant? Yeah, Apple TV.
No.
Oh, it's so good. So Defending Jacob and The Servant are good on Apple TV. So you gotta watch.
I can't add another subscription. I just can't.
And then what about
The Mandalorian?
Yeah, Mandalorian. Yeah.
Oh.
We're Mando fan. Hey, let me show you something real fast.
Hi, Carol. Welcome back again.
Huh? Same to you, Lisa. How you doing?
Good, staying busy.
You know, I have that information for you about the
do?
origin of life.
Oh,
I found
cool.
it. Yeah, I'll have to tell him. I sent it to him. I don't know if he's got it.
Okay. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
So my son's
Have you
Mandalorian.
seen?
Is that
Yay.
Coach Darth Vader?
Hey,
So cool.
Mandalorian.
Oh, that's cute.
This is Beskar steel. It's real.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
And it's your son's, right?
Yes, yeah, it's my son's.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah, this cute little baby Yoda.
Aww.
We are all in. But yeah, so bright spot of the COVID thing for sure. If anyone hasn't, it's always good to have ideas, right? Binge watching ideas. So what we're gonna do is, so let me just kind of set the table. So I talked about primary sources. So when you're doing history, you have primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources, if you can, use those to write as much as possible. Write your own stuff, right? Because you don't want someone else's bias. You don't want someone else's opinion. Use your primary sources as possible. Go to the source. So what we're going to do is start out with a primary source. What people don't realize is that we had 18 treaties in this area. We had our own treaties that were ratified and then stopped by the state of California. These treaties are a huge bone of contention, and we'll get into it. It's the Treaty of Santa Ysabel, because that's where it was signed. The Degano Kumeyaay Indians signed it, and we'll look into that controversy. For example, not one woman has ever touched the pen to sign one treaty, even though we were a matrilineal society. The North American indigenous folks were more matrilineal than patrilineal, as opposed to Europeans, which are more patrilineal, which is why they have a tendency to some would argue, to war, right? It has that imbalance of society. But so when it comes to the treaty system, it is, so you have these problems they're called treaty chiefs, where it ruined our political structure. We'll cover that a little more. So we're going to cover the Treaty of Santa Ysabel, which was for the Degano Kumeyaay Indians. Then above that is the Treaty of Temecula, which was Cahuilla and all those other folks. And these treaties were, we basically got screwed because we signed them. So imagine like signing your mortgage document, and then all this, you think you bought your house, and then you realize that Wells Fargo never completed the document. So you never had any. So here's the Treaty of Santa Ysabel. This was the treaty, the proposed territory, which is huge, right? I forgot the acreage, too much stuff in my head. But we basically get the entire East San Diego County. Some would say that's definitely not the best, but it's huge territory, probably a lot of minerals, all that stuff. San Ysabel is right there, so it gives you an idea. Campo is right there. So it gives you that, imagine this line, like as you pass Campo to go straight up to San Ysabel, Julian, right there, or I guess Julian is around there. And then it cuts across, and this is the other Treaty of Temecula. And this is all of our supposed to be all of our territory, which was not. So the other thing to understand too is, so our tribes were created by executive order. What does that mean? It means that our land rights aren't as strong as treaty rights. That's what some native scholars would argue, if you know your law versus treaty. So for example, like Trump, when he was in, he did all these executive orders, right? Threw kids in cages, all that. He did all that. He did the Keystone Pipeline, right? Standing Rock. He immediately pushed that through. What did Biden do? He stopped Keystone Pipeline, right? So for all those folks who are with the Standing Rock people like me, when Biden did that, you were happy, because what they're doing is ruining the water supply of those indigenous folks up there. But my point is not to talk about Standing Rock and Trump, is to talk about executive orders. So what can be done with a pen can be undone with a pen by one person. So a treaty had to be ratified through Congress. 400 plus treaties were done from the first Treaty of Delaware, 1778, and the last treaty was 1871, right? So roughly 100 years of treaties, 400 plus treaties. And that there's like when if you were to fight the Supreme Court right now, say you're a tribe, wherever, you're going to use this treaty thing, right? To say this was our treaty from the founding of this country, blah, blah, blah. We don't have that. We should, and that's what sucks about being an executive order tribe, is we don't have these kind of same protection. So termination, if you really want to go into this is kind of the extent. I'll do it right here. Take my other class, Native American history. I'll go into this a lot more, the idea of treaties, but just to give an understanding of how important the Treaty of, yes, you got your hand up, Yali? Is that how I say your name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, like for instance, so my people, the Luceño, I understand that Abraham Lincoln made the decision because the land was supposed to go back to us, but then he gave permission for the United States to give the land back to the Catholic Church. So that would be an executive decision, right?
I'm sorry, I was trying to find my Treaty of Santa Ysabel document. Can you please rephrase that? Sorry, I was distracted.
Okay, all right. So after the United States took the land, the Luceño land, which is my people, they were supposed to have gotten the land back that the mission took. But I understand that Abraham Lincoln decided not to give the land back to the tribes, but he gave the land back to the church, whereas the land was supposed to go back to us. So that would be another executive decision.
Yeah, so here's how I explain, understand what you're explaining, and it's kind of different. So, and this is to carry on with the mission period, and this is a part I missed. So this is to fill in a little knowledge gap that we have from the last class of this. So when the Spanish, and this is, sorry my French, this is the BS that the Spanish historians say, the apologists, that when the mission was supposed to be complete, the mission of the mission, where Indians were now civilized and part of society, that land would go to the natives. And this is what they say, what was supposed to happen with the mission system, that one day that mission land would be ours. And when secularization happened in 1833, it went to Californians, it went to Mexican land grants, it went to the Mexican Californians. right? Americans too, anyone but us. It didn't go to us, and it was supposed to. Now, what I don't know, I've never heard that about Abraham Lincoln. Certainly I don't know enough about Luiseño. That's part of my lineage as well. But when push came to shove, the Catholic Church they sold the land to land developers, right? To the where do you think all that land is in Mission Valley? They could have gave that to us as reparations if they really cared, if they really thought what was right. But the Catholic Church never does that kind of stuff because, you know, they don't really acknowledge us in the same way that those old documents would, right? Oh yeah, that's going to go back to us. Yeah, right. It's $100 million right now, right? They're not going to give it to us, but they had an opportunity, many opportunities to give those lands to us. And I guess I'm more or less talking about the church, not Abraham Lincoln at this point. But yeah, so we didn't get any land that was supposedly promised to us from the church or the government. And I haven't heard that. If you want to share that document, I would love to have it, y'all. Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, I do not know about that. So back to the treaties. So the Treaty of Santa Ysabel. So I'm going to show you the original document. Now this was, I believe Mike Connolly or someone went to, this is in the National Archives. So this is what it actually looks like. It's on this blue paper and it's about this big, like a big legal doc, you know, it's actually like this, if you can see my hands. And this is the actual Treaty of Santa Ysabel. It's on this really cool blue paper and it's written, you know, really nice calligraphy. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship made and concluded at the village of San Isabel, California, between the United States Indian agent Wozencraft of the one part, I guess, and the Capitan and head men, remember that, of Nation of the Degeno Indians. So if you can read that, then Article 1, the several tribes of the above mentioned nation do acknowledge the United States to be the sole and absolute sovereign of all the soil and territory ceded to them by a treaty of peace made between them and the Republic of Mexico. Interesting, right? The Mexico part. So yeah, so you have the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in here. And so this is in the documents. So if you want to read this whole thing, feel free. So it just basically talks about the territory and the articles. And more importantly, the reason why I'm showing it to you is the end. So in the end, you see a lot of figures that are going to come up. So Ponto of San Pascual, if we have any folks from San Pascual, Juan Pablo, and these are these were all the head men of the time, the captains of each tribe. And we were a paternalistic society to some extent, but yeah. But so there's Tomas of San Isabel, and then so check this out, Leandro, if you can see that in the middle to the right, that was the one you're going to read about Leandro in El Capitan in the very first chapter. So Leandro is going to come up. The San Diego mission. So that was part of where I guess Capitan that's part of the leadership of Capitan Grande. So keep an eye out for Leandro. There's Santiago. I'm trying to think there. I know I'm missing someone, but these names are going to come up in our readings. And as the headman of, signed for on behalf of the Degeno Indians. So all these folks represent the Degeno Indians. And the thing is they just signed an X. See that? They didn't even sign their name. Those little X's, because they didn't know how to, a lot of these folks didn't know how to read and write. So they just went and they signed an X. And the problem with treaties, first of all, is they can't read, right? So you're trusting these agents like Wozencraft to interpret every single detail. So a lot of this stuff, and that's what the problem with treaties, if you study them, is the people who signed them didn't know what they were doing or didn't know what they were signing. And that's one of the main problems with treaties. that you'll, when you study a lot, it's very, very, yes, you'll find a copy of this on Canvas. So yeah, but again, I go into the treaty stuff more in my Native American history class. So I'm not going to stay too long on that, but I encourage you to go look at that yourself, the Treaty of Santa Ysabel, and check out that primary source, that primary document. Yes. So yeah, any questions about the Treaty of Santa Ysabel? Comments, questions?
That, from my understanding, that was the only treaty that was later ratified much late, like years later, or one of the only ones.
So the treaty was never ratified, but
Never ratified.
but the thing is, so yeah, so that's a good segue. So and we're gonna read a couple pages about what came of it. So there was 50 years of they were sealed by the government, buried for 50 years. And then in 1905, they were uncovered. And this uncovering was a huge conspiracy amongst our people. And the elders always said the government ripped us off. Where's our land? Where's our money? You know, where's our 40 million acres? Or you'll see in an interview, I'll show it to you, where an elder says that, Sam Brown, he's like, where's our 40 million? Where, you know, and that's what the elders always said back in the day, like they ripped us off. But 1905, it gets uncovered. And that was the establishment, and we're going to cover that, the Mission Indian Federation. So you get this anti-government federation, kind of like Antifa, but without the bats, where they are, you know, it's a movement against an anti-government. Now my family, interestingly, was on the other side of that. So my great-grandfather was shot and killed by Mission Indian Federation. We're going to talk about that in the Campo shootout, because he was a BIA policeman, an agent. So you have factions, warring factions, a civil war, if you will, almost started because of the uncovering of the treaties of Santa Ysabel in 1905. You also have a lot more, actually. Oh yes, Stephanie. And Yali after that. Sorry, I'm missing the hands.
Yeah. Which documents were sealed and then uncovered?
So the Treaty of Santa Ysabel, that what I just showed you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the actual document, a photo of it. That actual document was covered up for 50 years. Confidentiality, like that's just how the government works. You can seal something and then it becomes public access after 50 years. You can't seal it away forever, thank God. We don't live in Russia or something like that, right? So yeah, for 50 years it uncovers, and then by that time, half the people are gone and whatever. But so that's what happened. And then this whole movement happened, the Mission Indian Federation, and Medicine Man will talk about the Mission Indian Federation. It'll come up quite a bit. Capitan will talk about the Mission Indian Federation. And it's this huge movement. And it was an anti-BIA, anti-government movement that said, look, we don't want nothing to do with you. Give us the land, though. Don't take our land away. Give it to us. Because the one thing about the Mission Indian Federation didn't like is that we really don't own our land. It's owned by the federal government in trust. And the government, once we're all dead, the government can take it back. And that's what they want. And that's why, you know, when we talk about enrollment, that's really going to be my main message, is that's where we're headed. Once we're all dead and we fight and our blood goes away, the government can do what they always wanted, was to take our land back. And because my moral of the story is this, we really don't own the land. It's held in trust by the federal government. And that's what the Mission Indian Federation wanted. We wanted our land to own it, to get title, but to not pay taxes, right? So that's what the government says. Well, you can have it, but you're going to pay property tax, right? So there was this back and forth, and that's a really pivotal moment. And so yes, Yali, you're up.
Oh no, you answered my question already.
Oh, let me put your hand down. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so let me set the table. So what I want to do is read a document from 1974. I found this in my dad's paperwork. I went through all that stuff. He's probably got a bunch of other stuff too. And it's a magazine. And it talks about, and we're going to read it. I'm going to have people go back and forth reading it. I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice. I'm tired of hearing it. But I'm going to have each maybe take turns. And this document talks about the treaties being uncovered and how the government created a claims court. So the California Claims Court was to settle all the treaties that they basically were dishonest and, you know, for lack of a better term, screwed us over. So that's what the California Claims Court is, to once and for all get this behind them, because they did some dirty deeds and they wanted to sleep at night. So let's read this document, and it's actually an article, but I really like this article. It's short and sweet, and it will, where's the archive? Hold on a second. Give me 1 minute. I really should have this. All right. And this is in this article, the recording, or the scan is in your Canvas. Killer article. So yes, and can I just have folks jump in there? Anyone? So we're going to start reading The Stealing of California at 47 cents an acre. Anyone who's got a Morgan Freeman type voice, please jump in.
It's taking a while to load on my computer. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue.
Cobra Kai, I like it. I like it. Oh. Let's see. Let me do something else. You know, something's up with the Zoom tonight. It's kind of funky. Let me just share my desktop. Maybe that's what I'll do. Can I do that? Can you see it now? Yeah. Okay. So Stealing of California.
Oh.
So
the following is a part of a presentation given January 21st, 1976, before Task Force 1 of the American Indian Policy Review Commission. When the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed at the conclusion of the Mexican War and California became part of the United States, about 200,000 Indians occupied 90% of the new state. But by the turn of the century, less than 50,000 had survived. The reasons for this drastic loss of life among the Native American population are many, the most critical of which can be traced to the period immediately following the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. 3 commissioners were sent to California by the U.S. government in the early 1850s to negotiate with the Indians for their land. The commissioners started at the top of the state, and through deception, coercion, and general misrepresentation, succeeded in negotiating 18 treaties. Therein, the Indians ceded 75 million acres of land to the United States, keeping approximately 8 million for themselves. Soon after, the U.S. Senate considered the treaties in executive session. California sent a congressional delegation to exert heavy pressure upon the Senate to defeat the ratification process. This effort proved successful. The Senate rejected the treaties.
All right. Anyone else want to go?
Meanwhile, more and more 49ers poured over the Sierras and continued to inflict great casualties among the natives through massacre, disease, and starvation. California Indians were devastated by these genocidal forces between 1850 and 1880. As early as 1851, Congress had established the California Land Claims Commission. All who claimed land of the old Spanish or Mexican law were required to file their claim with this commission. Many who filed received title to much of the original ancestral lands of California Indians. Congress in 1884 passed the Mission Indian Relief Act. The act established a commission with the responsibility to locate the area of largest Indian populations and authorized the president to create reservations in those areas. Although the president, by executive order, did at the time set aside a few rancherias in Northern California for the splintered parts of remaining tribes and groups, the effort proved of little help to Indians. Rancherias differed from reservation in that they were established only for individual homeless families. They were not meant to support whole populations as were reservations. The rancherias were in fact worthless. They were too small and it was impossible for the Indians to gain substance from them.
All right, anyone else want to go?
I'll go. In 1906, a clerk found the 18 unratified treaties hidden away in the federal archives. At that time, however, no Indians without an act of Congress could sue the United States for misrepresentation. No legal remedy was available. Finally, in 1928, after 75 years, Congress passed the Jurisdiction Act, which authorized Indians to sue the United States in order to gain compensation for the breaking of treaties. Permission to obtain this compensation was restricted to those parties whose cases involved treaty lands, and the rate of payment was set at $1.25 per acre, which included all the rights to gold, other minerals, and water on the land. It was not until 1944, in a Court of Claims decision in Indians of California versus United States, that an effort resulted in a judgment of $17 million. The suit had been filed in 1929. The 15-year payment delay was caused by the US government's claim that it was titled to set off certain expenditures that had been made in behalf of California Indians. Deducted from the 17 million was the value of the minimal size reservations and rancherias, which had been established after the rejection of the original 18 treaties. Added to this was the cost of needles, blankets, and thimbles. The United States claimed that these expenses and lands totaled $12 million. The Indians were left with $5 million settlement for their colonization and oppression by a foreign government between 1851 and 1944. Congress finally wearied from the repeated pleas by Indian groups across the country for permission to sue the United States. And in response to this, the Indian Claims Commission Act was passed in 1946. The act was much broader than anything that had preceded it. It allowed for compensation for moral wrongs and for breach of fair and honest dealings. By 1951, 3 groups of California Indians had filed claims: the Mission Indians, Southern California, the Indians of Central California, and the Pitt River Indians from Northern California. The claims alleged that Indians had been wrongfully and illegally dispossessed of their ancestral lands since the treaties had never been. Okay, I lost the next page.
Wait, hold on a second. Sorry. Boom. Yeah, that's it? I think so.
You could ratify.
Okay, ratified. They claimed 75 million acres had never really been ceded. All right, almost done. Anyone want to finish it off?
I'll finish it. The United States seceded in. Sorry, let me switch. The United States seceded in consolidating the 3 claims against the wishes of the Indians in the early 1960s. After making a preliminary determination, a $31 million settlement was offered. $2 million was subtracted for set-offs. The final amount of $29 million represented 47 cents an acre. This was less than half of what had been paid in 1944 at the $1.25 rate. In December 1972, the payment was distributed. Most of the 72 attorneys who represented the Indian people in this case were in favor of the settlement. They argued that there were many problems involved in pushing the claims case any further. An overwhelming amount of additional work would be required to begin another legal proceeding to determine what the actual value of land was in 1853. Already it had been 10 years since the original claim had been filed and more than 100 years since the land had been taken. The mission bands and the Indians of California approved this final settlement, but the Pitt River Indians did not. Not content with the Pitt River decision, the Bureau of Indian Affairs conducted a mail ballot of all enrolled members of the tribe. The resulting vote showed acceptance of the claim settlement. The Indian Claims Commission determined that the balloting process was proper and that the amount offered by the United States was fair. We're reading the.
Yeah, I think it keeps going, right? Yeah, just keep on going.
Okay. Despite the frantic efforts of the Pitt River Indians to hire another attorney to stop what they considered to be an illegal and non-existent acceptance of their portion of the claim, the settlement was ratified. Among the reasons for Pitt River non-acceptance of the settlement were the following. One, compromise was reached without the peoples being adequately informed of all the facts and implications. Attorneys were so intent on a settlement of the case that the Indians' concerns, desires, and needs were ignored. 3, inadequate payment was made for the land. In 1852, the California legislature declared the most worthless land in California to be worth $12.50 per acre. For genocide, 90% of more of the original people of California were killed between 1815 and 1880. For this, the federal and state governments must be held jointly responsible. For the widespread child slavery, the rape and kidnapping of women and girls, the willful destruction of food supplies, and other cruelties, the permanent loss of the right to fish, hunt, and gather food, the United States has paid nothing. 5, the amount awarded per individual both in 1944 and 1977 could not buy back any land. The money did not solve any of the economic problems, which confront our people. In the present economy, the $668 settlement could not last a family a month. 6, present day conditions find the land being destroyed, legitimate tribal groups not being recognized, existing reservations have more than one tribe living within their confines, thereby causing the loss of language, cultural identity, and religion. Most reservations are unproductive, and people live in abject poverty. Health standards are worse than the general population. 7, the settlement was for more than 64 million acres illegally taken. Today, there are fewer than 675,000 acres of Indian trust land in the state, and most of this land is barren and unproductive. You want me to read the conclusion too?
Does anyone else want to finish up the conclusion? Thank you. And how do I say your name?
Shantane.
Shantane, thank you very much.
You're
Awesome. I
welcome.
really appreciate that. Anyone want to finish off the last conclusion? 4 lines of 4 rows?
I'll finish it.
The 18. Oh,
go ahead, Arena.
The 18 unratified treaties would have provided for reservations totaling 8.5 million acres. Because of the resulting lack of an adequate land base and because of a history of genocide, most Indians of California have been deprived of their language, religion, cultural activities, and tribal identity. Our contention is that this settlement was not only inadequate, but was a totally wrong method of making retribution. Only by establishing an adequate land base for all landless California Indians, 2/3 are still landless, can the US government make reconciliation with the red man possible. To revive a strong spiritual movement in California among Indians, we must have this land base. We desperately need the return of all spiritual and sacred lands in the state. This alone will stimulate a strong reawakening of our people and strengthen them once again as nations.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And then, yeah, so that's the gist of it. There's a lot more we can discuss. So what does first of all, how many folks have learned about this stuff for the first time? I always like asking that question. The Treaty of Santa Ysabel, then I'm covering the California claims. So yeah, and a lot of natives are learning about this for the first time. And that's crazy to me. So yeah, I didn't know much about this. My dad never talked about it, for instance. But so that in the 70s, and Carlene remembered this, she was in my last class, they received a check for $600. That was the claim for stealing of an entire state or county or whatever. So $600, here you go. Now go back to the rocks, and it really pisses me off personally, because I look at those choice spots in La Jolla and all the beautiful spots that were ours. And then that's, I'm a little bit more radical than my family and stuff, but that's how I think, to go. And I love Verona. Verona's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's an incredible, beautiful place. Thank you for it. Thank you. But I can't help but think when I read this stuff, looking over when I drive to La Jolla, I'd be like, hey, I got $600 from, my ancestors got a check for $600. Come on. And so that's, everyone's going to internalize it differently. All I got to say is what a ripoff, right? 47 cents an acre. And you got to ask yourself, did they do this for us? Because it doesn't seem like it, right? It's almost like Caesar washing his hands, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, I'm good. And so, yeah, this is one of those moments in time where it's unfortunate. And I believe if our people did know more about this stuff, we would be more radicalized. And that's what I would like. And I don't mean in a crazy way, but I just mean in a motivated way. This stuff should motivate us to be, first of all, bring awareness to those around us. I wish all of San Diego should know about this, the treaties, what happened. And yes, Yali.
I would just like to say that, one of the things that when I bring this up, and when I bring this up to Californians that are non-native, they really do not give a darn, and they get very defensive and very nasty very quickly. I'm not saying everybody, but a large majority when I start bringing these things up.
And we'll talk about that. So what do they say? I love this. Let's play.
Okay.
Play the game. What do they do?
Okay. You were conquered. Get over it.
Get over it.
Get over it. Yeah. And so
that's my favorite.
That's mainly the response.
And what about this one? That was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
That's another one, right?
Yeah, 2 to 3 grandmothers ago. It's not that long ago.
Get over it. And why do you think that is, though? What do you think the core of that is? Like, what's their main problem that maybe they don't even are aware of?
What I think it is, I think there is a guilt there, and they don't know how to access that or even maybe name it as guilt. That's the way that I take it, because the defensiveness comes up really quickly and it's pretty strong sometimes. Maybe it is also combined with a feeling of entitlement.
Yeah. And I think, and this is why psychology and religion, this is where that comes in, right? Because there's a point where you're not even talking about history anymore. You're talking about something else, feelings, psychology, race, all that, and then you really start to be like, you got to go a little bit deeper. And I really, and we're going to go into that, by the way, when we cover healing the soul wound. So we're going to cover that. And it's so, yes, good. Let's just keep that fire burning for the rest of the course. Yes, Lizzie. And I'm glad that people are using their virtual hands now. Everyone.
Thank you. I don't know if I might have missed this, but can you clarify, was any amount agreed upon and paid out, or was it because the Pitt River Indians did not accept it, the deal fell through? Can you clarify on the outcome?
Yeah, so 29 million, right? You see that on the top left corner, the final amount of 29 million represented 47 cents an acre. So 29 million. This is less than half. It wasn't even close to the actual value. And we were given $600, which back in the 70s, that was a lot of money, right? $600 was like $2 grand, $3 grand, right? You could do some serious damage with $600. So a lot of the natives, they dug it. They're like, yeah, I'll take it, and it was a big deal. It was a big day. If you're a family of four, you each got $600. That was like every $3,000 or $4,000 in the house or whatever. Not maybe 2,000, excuse me, 2 or 3. So, but the implications of it, right? The gravity of it, the historicity of it, I don't think was really understood at the time. And how do I raise my hand? So there's a little reaction thing down at the bottom. And then there's a little thing that says raise hand. Then there's a bunch of emojis too. That's good. Or the chat is a good, sometimes I'm bad at looking at the chat sometimes. So yes, so you have this really interesting moment in history that's really not understood or talked about. And I was born and raised on a reservation. My dad was like my homie. We were close. We played music together. We did all this, and he never said nothing about this. So to hear about this, and a lot of that has to do with pain. You don't bring up things that are painful because you want your kids to have a new, better life. And that's one of the reasons why natives don't know much about our history. It's because there's so much pain in the past. But it actually works against us in the long run because we don't know why we are the way we are. And a lot of that is our narrative, our family's narrative. And we're going to cover that in historical trauma. We'll repeat cycles that need to be changed. So one of the things about this in particular, the land base, so we were supposed to get 8.5 million acres. I was a little off with the 40 million acres, but in that interview, he says 40 million. I'll show it to you. But we were supposed to get 8.5 million acres, but we just have 600,000 acres. We have barely 500,000 acres in our land base. So we got a fraction of what we were supposed to get in those 18 treaties, the California tribes in particular. California tribes, we have more tribes than any other state in the country. But that's not a good thing because we have the smallest tribes. We're small. The smallest tribe in the whole United States is Hamul is number 2, I think. And then the first one is up north. I think it's the Pitt River. It's a cemetery. It's 1 acre, 1.2 acres. So we are getting the main title. We have all these tribe land bases, but they're super, super, super small. And that's not a good thing because that also makes it hard for blood quantum. So we're all spread out. The blood's getting diluted. And to me, that was always by design. The government wanted that. They saw these big tribes that they made in the beginning as a mistake because Indians were not changing. Their blood wasn't going anywhere. And so what they did, I think, by design and nefarious design is as they moved west, they wanted smaller, broken tribes to where the blood would eventually be gone. And now we're seeing that. We're in that last stage where the blood is almost gone. And then when we study La Posta, so my aunt Booty is from, and that's what we call her nickname. She's from La Posta. And I interviewed her. It's a great interview. I can't wait to show it to you. But her grandma. So when they were going to build the 8, and this is the 8 is brand new, by the way. It's in the 50s. It wasn't paved. None of these roads were 50, 80 years ago. They're all brand new. When they were going to pave the 8, they found La Posta was in the way. So they contacted the only surviving members on the rolls, and they found one person. Maria Benegas was living in Verona. Now I'll cover the details later, but my point is, if they didn't find her, they would have took La Posta back. And that's what they told her. too. The BIA in Riverside say, hey, we don't find that one, we're going to take it back. You know, and so that's what we're at. That's where we're at as going forward. And, you know, I'll say one more thing too about that. It's kind of like climate change, where it's not in our generation and it's far enough away where we don't have to worry about it. But one day it will be, you know, right in front of us. And that's where I think we're going with all these issues we're coming. I'm just giving paper ideas right now, actually. So if you're interested, Bureau of Indian Affairs, oh yeah, sorry, BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, yes. So the Bureau of Indian Affairs is now located in Riverside. And they are a shell of what they used to. If you want more on the BIA, I covered that in my other class. So yeah, anyways, is there any comments at this point? I'm kind of getting tired of talking. Anyone want to take over for me?
No, I don't want to take over, but I'd just like to mention that I still am shocked over the amount of people in San Diego who do not know about the Kumeyaay at all.
Yeah. It's that simple. Like, just to know about us, right? Is everything. Just to know we exist. Like, someone asked me, what do you want people to know about the Kumeyaay? That we're here. You know, no details, just that we're alive. And that's when I gave a talk or to somewhere, and they asked me that question. And I said exactly that, Lisa. I just wish they knew we were here, we existed, and
Yeah.
and you know, to be honest though, it's partly our fault. We need to go out there. We need our people. We need ambassadors amongst the tribes to go out there in the world and make that happen. And so I think it's a shared responsibility for that challenge, I would say. So yeah, and anyways, so any comments, questions, anything I just said about the California Claims Commission, the treaties, Treaty of Santa Ysabel?
I have another question, if that's okay. Just
Okay.
to clarify, for the payments too. So it mentioned there that the 3 tribes went in following the Indian Claims Commission Act. So the Pit River Indians, I think it was the Mission Indians, and then one more. But did the payout, that's $600 you mentioned, did that go to all enrollees in the state?
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes. So here's the thing. When when this happened, right, they had $29 million and it was a pot, and they're like, okay, who are we going to give it to? Everyone came out of the woodworks and wanted to be enrolled all of a sudden, right? Everyone, you can imagine, right? It happened with the casinos recently. We'll talk about that. Everyone comes out of the woodwork. You're like, who are you? You know, and that's fine. I mean, but I mean, there's nothing like money to motivate anyone, including myself. So people come out and they try to get enrolled. And so now, let's see. You know, we're going to review the treaty. Where's it? Okay, so Mike Connolly, I believe, this is from him. I know he saw it personally. He went to the National Archives in DC, if you want to see this treaty. But anyway, so when the court claims came out, when they came out with this $29 million settlement, and they were going to enroll, everyone came out of the woodworks, and then enrollment committees started literally going over their rolls. And our blood quantum, all that had to be verified and you know, in order to distribute the money to enrolled members. So when it comes to today, a lot of our enrollment, they're called rolls, is from this particular moment in time, 1928, because it was like, up until that point, it was not a big deal. No one really cared. It was half measure. But by this point, it was like, okay, we really got to find out who is enrolled members and who is not. And so a lot of our enrollment now, like Barona, we use the 64 rolls. And Viejas and Barona, we got rolls. Everyone, I think San Pasqual uses the 28 rolls. So this is called the 28 rolls to enroll all their member. And if you do not have a member on that roll, you're out. You know, and that's how it goes. Say someone didn't show up, right? Oh well, you know, and that's just how kind of crazy this is. But so that's why and I'm so glad you asked that question. That's also why I'm doing this particular lesson, because this is how our enrollment was decided. Yes, Steph and Yali. I haven't heard you yet, Steph.
So with the treaty that was found, the Treaty of Santa Ysabel, was that the catalyst for some of these discussions, or what year was that treaty discovered?
So the treaty was uncovered, unclassified in 1905.
Okay.
So and it became a big deal. And then that's when the claims court was kind of like, and look, it wasn't just California, it was all the other treaties. Chief among them is a treaty of Fort Laramie with the Lakota and the Black Hills. So all this whole time was the uncovering of all the treaties, all the things. Because look, the Treaty of Fort Laramie gave them the Lakota the Black Hills, and then they found gold, and then they went in there anyways. They totally went against their own treaty just because of gold. And this is right after the gold rush, right following the gold rush. And so all this momentum was a sea change, a historical sea change in the whole country. And this is part of it. And so you got to understand it in the context of the national, what was going on elsewhere. So yeah, so something had to be done, because this nation tries as much as it can to right its wrongs in the long run through the law. It uses the law. However, halfway it eventually tries to act like a Christian nation, which is, I don't know how else to say it, right? So we have this, because we have this in our Constitution, right? To life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have all this stuff we live by and die by. So then you see something like this, and you're like, oh, well, we have to do something if we want to still call ourselves a Christian nation. The other thing I want to talk about in light of that is this. So in 1882, Helen Hunt Jackson published the Treaty of a Century of Dishonor. So this is a congressional act of, A Century of Dishonor by Helen Hunt Jackson of the United States government with some of, anyways, it says congressional act in there somewhere. Like, for instance, when 9/11 happened, they did a congressional act to study 9/11. So that's what this is. So this is them studying all the stuff they did to natives for 100 years. So it's called A Century of Dishonor. So you got to think of that too. So all this stuff was coming up that the United States had done to natives, and there had to be a reckoning. You could call it reparations, right? I think that's what we're talking about. So this is the government creating its own reparations without our consent at all. So, and that's why the Pitt River said, hey, this is not legit. Like, you didn't even, this is just you talking to yourself, and that's really what it came down to. Yeah, so A Century of Dishonor, Helen Hunt Jackson, she visited Sycuan, and Sycuan was one of the worst places she's ever visited. And we're going to cover that in Medicine Man. She talks, they went to Sycuan, they said this woman was living like an animal in like a corral. And it was insane. Like, they've never seen anyone live like that before. So you got to understand the sea change, and we'll cover that in Medicine Man. And it was being published in newspapers. That's the other thing. So the San Diego Sun published a bunch of Sycuan articles. If you're 1929, if you want to do some research about San Diego, and you could probably find the archive, San Diego Sun, San Diego Tribune, and on and on and on. So it was this massive sea change of a reckoning. And that's where the California claims came. But here's the main problem. And can anyone, I hope someone gets this. What's the number one problem with this whole thing? And it's one word. The answer is one word.
Land.
Land. Exactly. We want land. We don't want money. And that's
Right.
what the government always, like with the Sioux, they wanted to give them millions and millions of dollars. They said, no, we want the Black Hills, right? We want our sacred creation story lands. We want land. We don't want money. And exactly, and that's the biggest problem with this whole thing. Give us our land back, or give us some land. Just like, you know, I mentioned with the Catholic Church, like, give us our land. It's ours. You know, where the San Diego Mission, that was one of our main villages, Nipawai. It could be a different one, but I mean, that was one of our main villages in the area. Give us that back, you know, move your little church and give us our piece of land. Well, we can, all 18 of us will own it, or all 12 governments will own it. So yeah, so that's the main problem. If you just study Indian scholars and stuff like that, it's like the whole thing is built on sand because it's missing the idea of land, you know, and that's the unfortunate part about it. And then, but if you're going to give us money, give us at least some good money, right? So we can buy some land.
Buy land.
Yeah, so you can't even buy land with that money they gave us. So, and then there was another check later. So there was a check for 6 and another check for 3. And yeah, really frustrating stuff though. But yeah, this is one of the moments in time where you really, it's really creates a lot of anger for me personally. So anyways, Yali, yes.
Okay, so what I wanted to say, this touches a little bit on erasure and also reparations. The Truth and Healing Council that Newsom is calling for, that is supposed to go for 5 years. We're supposed to be talking about all the things that had happened. It's also meant so that Californians really know the history of what we've been through. And the first meeting was January, no, it was in December. It's online, and they have representations from different people from different tribes. I'm hoping that it's going to end up with some land because he hasn't taken that off the table. He said that reparations are on the table, not monetary, but land base, because, you know, I'm also a Hashiman. We have no land base. You know, we've been trying to get one darn little acre in San Juan Capistrano. But my other fear is that they're recalling Newsom. And if Newsom goes, I don't know how we're ever going to get a governor to come back to this issue and at least try to listen and try to give us a chance for some healing.
Yeah, Newsom, I mean, it's for us, he finally said sorry for the California genocide. I don't want him recalled.
Right. I don't either. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the process, the 5-year process. And, you know, since the meetings are online, it's well worth it to watch the online events.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, and the whole recall thing is wasting how many millions and millions of dollars, and we could use that for schools and all this stuff. The whole recall thing.
Especially with the, you know, especially with all the money with the COVID, you know, it's just really draining the state. So
yeah, we don't need recall, but yeah.
Can I ask a question? What do you guys think of Deb Hagelin, the person who, the Native woman who is hopefully going to be appointed as the Secretary of the Interior in Biden's cabinet?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Deb Hagelin, the person from New Mexico, the Native woman who is hopefully going to be approved for the Biden's cabinet as the Secretary of the Interior. I would imagine you would be excited about that. No?
I've been excited about it, really excited about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead,
I think it's really exciting because finally we have our Native voice in there to speak for our Native people, especially a woman. You know, with all that the women have gone through, you know, and finally, you know, our voices will be heard, you know, not just Native women, but for Native men as well, you know, and not just that, but all of the Bureau of Land Management as well, you know, our sacred sites, our, you know, our protected sites, all that stuff will be voiced, hopefully, and heard now. You know, a lot of Native people are just excited and just really proud of her and her accomplishments. You know.
Good, I'm
And
glad.
it gives hope to the youth, to the generations to come, that, you know, even with a female president, that women can, you know, that these young girls have like role models to look up to, that they can be anything that they want to be, you know, even vice president if they wanted to be, even part of the Senate, you know. I mean, it's really exciting.
I agree. Good. Good.
Yeah, and one of the main things I want to encourage, and what I'm excited about our new class is, you know, we live and die by political science, and that's one thing I learned young. My dad was on council, my brother, and we're a very, very political people, and we need, you know, we need that representation to pursue, not just keep us from being terminated. It's not even, you know, just to keep what we have. And that's what I'm worried about moving forward. For, you know, when Trump became president, he put a BIA a superintendent, or I forgot what it was, but she wanted to bring back termination, start terminating tribes. So it's to me, it's just a matter of like keeping the status quo sometimes is hard enough, let alone pushing the bar forward. Of course, I want to do both, but yeah. So yeah, I'm real excited about that poli-sci course, and yeah, so I'm very excited. So, all right, got the Cobra Kai, Maya. All right, representing. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. So it's going to. You want to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll just finish. Or you want? Actually, we can just finish tonight. Yeah. There's really not much to say. How's everyone on that? Finishing early?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
All the books, because I came in a little late, so all the books that you were talking about, is there a list of them on the syllabus or anywhere on Canvas?
Yeah, so yeah, let's just peek at the syllabus before I go. And we can look at it now. So
Thank you.
There's a syllabus right here in the first week, and there's a syllabus page if you just want to go to that. And this will show up, you can print it. And this will have all the stuff, all the content, you probably read the course description. We're going to go through all the court cases for gaming. It's going to be cool. This is all the content. And then here's the course materials. So El Capitan, Tennis Thorn, Medicine Man. And yeah, that should get you where you need to find the books online. And you're going to have enough time to do that. Because if you don't have Capitan in time, you can find it on Canvas in the module. So yeah, it'll be right here, but make sure you look tomorrow evening, and I'll have questions here for your readings. So
Okay, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. So if it were me, I wouldn't start reading until I had my questions. So
the questions will be up tomorrow.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, I'm gonna work on them, and I'll have them by the afternoon.
So we're hitting the ground running.
But it's only 37 pages. That's
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you know what it is with this course is there's so much material. I can't waste a week. Sorry. I hope you appreciate it though, because I'm trying to give it all to you as much as I can.
Well, your books are good. You start reading them, and then you pass the mark, your cutoff mark, and I keep reading. So
good. Yes. Yeah. Well, Cap 10 is a great book. It's a really, really good book. And the best part of Cap 10 for me is I have these interviews accompanying with it. So we're gonna like Cap 10, you know, it talks about the creation of Brona and Viejas, and we'll interview folks who were there during the time. And so I'll show you that. And then the thing about Cap 10 I will say is that she didn't go to Viejas. So she's missing a lot of Viejas stuff. So when I went up there to interview John Chrisman, for instance, he told me all this stuff that wasn't in the book. And I was like, wait a second. Like tennis.
Did she run out of time? What?
She never went there.
Why wouldn't she? Has to go there. It's part of the story. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is
It's
ridiculous.
the splinter group.
Yeah, so, yeah, and then we'll talk about the splinter group, the folks that took their money and went to the city. It's actually Louis and something Benegas. So we'll talk about the splinter group. But yeah, so that's what I really, really, really like about these next couple of weeks is I'm gonna have some really good accompanying interviews for you. And we can fill in the blanks with the interviews and Viejas. And yeah, they're pretty mad. I would say mad, but they're not happy about their representation. Because yeah, so I think Olitha Pico, she wants to do, I don't know, redo it somehow and fix some of that stuff that's not.
I think they should. I think they should.
Yeah, like for example, they only said two groups or one group came up, and in fact, it was two groups at two different times. So one group came up in 1932, and one came up in 1934. So one group moved up there before they purchased the land, before they got title. So that's not in the book, for instance. And
that was that one headsman that came from the San Diego mission who took the people over there to start it.
Oh yeah, Leandro. So
Leandro, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see Leandro in that first part. Well, signed the treaty. So Leandro's from the mission, and so yeah. So I've had a very long week, a long day. It's my first week of classes are all really hard. I'm sure you know what I mean, Amy, right? They have us do professional development. It's just like, oh my God, I can't do it anymore, but it's good. So I'm glad to see everyone. Carol, Arena, all these new faces, Hector, V, Sean, how do I say your name? Shantane?
Shantane, yes.
Miss Lisa, Julie, glad to see, John, Daniel Vocaldo, Jenny, glad to have you. Maya, sorry if I'm missing anyone's name. There's a lot of people. But yeah, we're gonna meet each other a lot more this semester with breakout groups. And I will see you next week. And oh yeah, Carol, do you want me to share that paper you sent?
Oh, yeah, if you want to, that's fine. I found another page to it.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty interesting. And, I know there's personal stuff in it too, but it's all kind of intermixed.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do is fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So what she shared a paper about how life was created, the origin of life, how it coincides with some of our creation stories. So let me just share that real fast before I go. If you don't mind, is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because I know it was a eulogy.
Yeah.
But anyways, because I know some students ask for that. So that should be right there. And that's how, kind of a lot of like what we were talking about last class is how a lot of our creation stories are coming true as far as science proving them happened and all that. So anyways, I'm going to go finish Cobra Kai and I will see you later.
I'm going to go watch Outlander. I'll see you later.
Bye, everybody. It's going to be an awesome semester.